Pyramids and temples are surveyors' targets. The gods use them to conduct planetary surveying. The gods keep the planets in alignment from that surveying. The purpose of the alignment is to grow life on Earth. The following sections are taken from the video Archaeoastronomy by Heidi Short, available on YouTube. Surveyors' targets were built all over the world, but probably not in the Arctic or Antarctica, because the sun was important in gauging the alignment, and those extremes on the poles don't receive, one cannot gather accurate survey readings from those positions. Here is Nabta Playa, which is a surveyor's target, located 100 kilometers west of Abu Simbel. This site aligns with the sun as an east-west alignment, north-south alignment. The east-west is in the form of a gate believed to have been set to the sun's alignment for both rising and setting on the summer solstice 6,500 years ago. Consists of a 12-foot circle, 4 pairs of large upright slabs, and 5 lines of standing and toppled stones. This is the zodiac in the Temple of Hathor, painted on the roof. Represents the star systems and the migration of the planets through the zodiac. The summer solstice sunrise cuts through the temple of Amun. The winter solstice sunrise cuts through the temple of Karnak. So at the sun temple of Ramses, during minor solstices, the entrance and the statues are bathed in sunlight, most probably in an inner sanctum.
In the area of France, called Brittany, we find this wondrous megalith. The rock with fairies, La Roche aux Fées, catches the rising sun on the day of the winter solstice. The monument comprises 33 raised stones and 8 stones of cover. The heaviest stone weighs around 45 tons. Certain stones would have been transferred up to 4 kilometers. Legends tell that it was the work of the fairies. It could have been a refuge for dragons, or possibly the tomb of a Roman general. Later it was thought to be a temple for priest or site of human sacrifices.
La Roche aux Fées is a surveyor's target that the gods use to keep the planets in alignment from the planetary surveying they were conducting. The purpose of these alignments is to enable life to grow on Earth.
On to Britain. This map shows locations of prehistoric stone circles and stone rows. They are indicated by the red dots. It covers Britain, Ireland, Scotland and Wales. There are so many we could never talk about them all in one evening. I would like to show you a few. Here we go. Hey, the place I built. Just kidding. Stonehenge's earliest construction dates from the Mesolithic at 8500 BC. The outer ditch and the Aubrey holes were constructed between 3020 BC to 1520 BC. All other phases of construction began between 2440 BC and 1520 BC. This site is best known for the sunrise on the summer solstice. The entrance was also reoriented slightly during the lifetime of Stonehenge to compensate for the astronomical variation in the midsummer sunrise over many centuries. It is thought that the 4 station stones could mark the most northerly and southerly positions of the sun and the moon. A new study has suggested that Stonehenge has been reassembled many times.
Stonehenge is a surveyor's target for the gods to conduct planetary surveying. The purpose of this surveying is to keep the planets in alignment in order to grow life on Earth.
On to our next site. This site in Wessex has at its heart an enormous earthenwork circle some 400 meters wide. The external ditch circumference is over 1200 meters. Inside is a 400-meter circle of large standing stones, and inside that are 2 more stone circles, each 100 meters in diameter. The complex also consists of 2 stone avenues and a sanctuary. There are over 600 megaliths in this monument. The most famous alignment here is Midsummer, which centers from Circle D.
Avebury is a surveyor's target for the gods to conduct planetary surveying from. The gods conduct planetary surveying to keep the planets in alignment for the purpose of growing life on Earth.
From here we will move on to Scotland. The site consists of a line of mica schist stones. The line of stones is oriented northeast to southwest. This site was for both midsummer setting sun and the midwinter setting sun. It also referenced the island of Carr and the mountains of importance on the island of Jura. There are many in Scotland, but I will only show you one more here.
Ballow-Troy Kintyre Argyll is a surveyor's target. The purpose of this structure is to allow the gods to conduct planetary surveying to keep the planets in alignment in order to grow life on Earth.
This site is a recumbent stone circle at which all the stones of the circle have been removed, and only the large recumbent and its 2 substantial flanking stones remain in position. Someday they may figure out the measurements of the circle and where all other key points may have been. The recumbent stone covers azimuths in the range 207.8 to 224.8 and horizon values of 3.5 to 1.3. The resultant declination values of -25.4 to -21.7, which are covered by the width of the recumbent, thus cover the setting position of the sun on midwinter's day. Scotland has many barrows, cairns, circles and other megaliths. These 2 are but a sample.
Alton in the Aberdeenshire is a surveyor's target for the gods to conduct planetary surveying. The purpose of the surveying is to keep the planets in alignment for the purpose of growing life on Earth.
From here we move on to Ireland. Ireland too has many sites, this one being the most interesting. The New Grunge tomb is located in County Meath, Ireland. Built around 3200 BC by the Neolithic people who lived in Ireland at the time. The tomb was discovered in 1699 and it was excavated and restored a lot between 1962 and 1975. An entrance on the southeastern side opens to a 62-foot-long passageway leading to a central chamber 20 feet high and 3 side chambers. For about 2 weeks, on either side of the winter solstice, light streams through a roof box located above the entrance passage. This allows light to shine through the length of the passageway, illuminating the entire central chamber, which must have been where people were buried.
The mound at Newgrange is a surveyor's target for the gods to conduct planetary surveying. The purpose of the structure is to measure the distance between the sun and the Earth in order to keep the planets in alignment and at the correct distance apart from each other for the purpose of growing life on Earth.
Now an overview of some other places and events. More modern astronomical devices include meridianal lens like the one in St. Maria degli Angeli Church in Roma. Between 1650 and 1750 it became very popular for Catholic churches to have a noon line or great meridian to keep celestial time. Going counterclockwise we see the many solstice events and Old World holidays. Angkor Wat in Cambodia, if looked at from above, is laid out in the shape of the constellation Draco. On Easter Island, its 7 statues look towards the point where the sun sets during the equinox. As in the case of many religious structures, it has been situated with astronomical precision. And Russia contains many megaliths with astronomical ties. So man has stared at the stars, sun and moon for a long time and gave those objects important places in their culture. So where next? Now I will pass it along to James.
Thank you, Merlin. Let's start in the south. Tiahuanaco near the shores of Lake Titicaca, Bolivia has an unusual monument said to have been built before the Incan had arrived. As the sun rises each day it moves along the horizon and it rises in a different spot. To measure this movement they built the temple itself as a giant clock to tell them how the progression of the sun was proceeding. This site still provokes further study, as does the Nazca lens in Peru. Recently they have noted that some of the lens point toward the sun's starting point in the sky during the rainy season. Another lens point to water sources available during this time of the year.
Teotihuacan in Bolivia is a surveyor's target for the gods to conduct planetary surveying from. The purpose of the surveying is to keep the planets in alignment for the purpose of growing life upon Earth.
On to Central America. North of Merida is located Zudilchilten, the Temple of the Seven Dolls. It was built around 200 AD and was inhabited until the time of the Spanish conquest. The city was discovered around 1540, but the only excavated structure was the Temple of the Seven Dolls. This temple is notable because it is the only Mayan temple with windows in a tower instead of a roof cone. Equinox sunrise here is where every year, the 21st of March and September, in the equinox an overwhelming effect is created. Both the Aztecs and Mayans paid great attention to the heavens. Not only the stars, sun and moon, but also Venus and other celestial bodies.
Dzibillchaltán Yucatan is a surveyor's target for the gods to conduct planetary surveying for the purpose of keeping the planets in alignment for the purpose of growing life upon Earth.
From here we go to Caracol Tower. Caracol Tower, located at Chichen Itza, was a celestial observatory to the stars that was aligned along the line of the summer and winter solstice. The dome has many windows peppered throughout. Stars can be seen through different windows on specific dates. This structure is one of the pinnacles of Mayan architecture. Creating a stone dome is hard work, but creating it with windows at precise points takes an enormous amount of time and skill. It was built sometime around 800 AD. The observatory has the same basic shape as a modern-day observatory. The central dome has slots for observing the stars, although the exact method of observation remains a mystery. There is no evidence that the Maya developed telescopes, yet they were able to chart stars they could not have been able to see with the naked eye.
Caracol Tower in Chichen Itza, Mexico is a surveyor's target for the gods to conduct planetary surveying to keep the planets in alignment for the purpose of growing life upon Earth.
Now we travel to Tenochtitlan. Templo Mayor in Tenochtitlan, eastern Mexico, has many festivals associated with the equinoxes. It is said that the Spanish did not know they were building on top of an ancient temple. To them it was the tallest hill in the area. Teotihuacan also has many structures. All of the buildings are aligned with the stars and the solar system from precise survey points in the nearby mountain range using an advanced understanding of mathematics, geometry and astronomy. Amazing what they could do without computers.
Tenochtitlan is a surveyor's target for the gods to conduct planetary surveying for the purpose of keeping the planets in alignment in order to grow life upon Earth.
On to North America. The Tequesta, Miami Circle. In August 1998, excavations exposed an archaeological treasure consisting of a circle of holes chiseled into the limestone bedrock. This circle of mystery is 38 feet in diameter, which lies on a 2.2-acre site. The circle is depicted by at least 20 regular cut basins, which vary in size from 1 to 3 feet. Peculiar to the circle are numerous post holes and a carving in the rock similar to an eye that appear on the circle's east-west axis, suggesting an alignment to the equinox. Any astronomical alignments remain to be fully documented. Also particular to the site are several offerings, including 2 basaltic stone axes not manufactured in Florida and a 5-foot chart deliberately buried in the circle. The overall site is approximately 2,000 years old. The age of the circle is not known. I wonder who built it.
The Miami Circle is a surveyor's target for the purpose of the gods to conduct planetary surveying. The purpose of the surveying is to keep the planets in alignment in order to grow life upon Earth.
Our next place is just as mysterious. About 40 miles north of the city of Boston and about 25 miles inland from the Atlantic Ocean is what appears to be the greatest and perhaps oldest megalithic enigma of North America. Mystery Hill, also known as America's Stonehenge, is a site that has puzzled archaeologists for almost a century. Running across the 30 acres of hillside are a series of low walls, cave-like primitive buildings, and tunnels. It has been found to have astronomical alignments including summer solstice. One of the main features of the site is an enormous flat stone, like a great table, resting above the ground on 4 legs. Around the edge of the table runs a groove that leads to a spout. called the sacrificial stone. Underneath the sacrificial stone is a shaft 8 feet long leading to an underground chamber. It seems reasonable that this allowed a priest, concealed in the chamber, to speak as the voice of an oracle. To a crowd gathered around the altar, the sound would appear to float up from the sacrificial stone like the voice of some disembodied spirit. How old is the site? Charcoal from one fire pit, measured by radiocarbon dating, was found to be 4,000 years old. Who built it? They have found Phoenician writing anagram at the site, but this just adds to the mystery. During the 1600s, the people from the Old World plundered the site for stone. We may never figure out all the secrets behind this place.
Mystery Hill is a surveyor's target. The purpose of the structure is to allow the gods to conduct planetary surveying in order for them to keep the planets in alignment in order to grow life on Earth.
Now for a site still under investigation also. Cahokia Mounds in southern Illinois, near East St. Louis, has a circle of post holes interpreted in 1970 as an astronomical indicator of summer solstice sunrise and winter solstice sunrise. The most spectacular sunrise occurs at the equinoxes when the sun rises due east. The post marking these sunrises aligns with the front of Monk's Mound where the leader resided, and it looks as though Monk's Mound gives birth to the sun. A possible fertile pit near the winter solstice post suggests a fire was burned to warm the sun and encourage it to return northward for another annual cycle and rebirth of the earth. This probably marked the start of the new year. Serpent Mound, Ohio. Features of Serpent Mound are aligned with both the summer solstice sunset and, less clearly, the winter solstice sunrise. A pile of burned stones once located inside the oval head area was several feet northwest of its center, possibly to make a more precise alignment with a point of V in the serpent's neck and the summer solstice sunset. New radiocarbon dates suggest that Serpent Mound, a 1/4 mile long earthen effigy of a snake, was built as many as 2,000 years later than previously thought.
Cahokia Mounds in southern Illinois and the Serpent Mound in Ohio are both surveyors' targets for the gods to conduct planetary surveying. The purpose of the surveying is to keep the planets in alignment in order to grow life upon Earth.
Next on our way through the Americas. Poverty Point Plantation, northeastern Louisiana. Roughly 3,000 years old, the ridges are intersected by avenues that seem to align with summer and winter solstice points as well as some more obscure astronomical azimuths. These alignments represent remarkable astronomical sophistication for the New World in 1000 BC.
Poverty Point, northeastern Louisiana is a surveyor's target. The purpose of the structure is to allow the gods to conduct planetary surveying to keep the planets in alignment for the purpose of growing life on Earth.
Westward ho! The Shot Butte in Chaco Canyon, New Mexico boasts a chamber in which a spiral petroglyph may be found. The glyph is surrounded by stone slabs, allowing only scant light to penetrate into the darkness, and as the sun makes its appearance, a slit of light climbs the wall, arriving at the center of the petroglyph at noon at the time of equinox. At noon on the summer solstice, a dagger of sun penetrates the center of the spiral. On the autumnal equinox, a sun dagger passes through the center of a small spiral on the left, and another passes on the edge of the large spiral. At the winter solstice, a big sun dagger passes on either side of the large spiral. Also marks a 19-year lunar cycle. The spiral has 19 rings. We also see here the 1054 supernova of Halley's Comet below. The star 6 times brighter than Venus appeared in the sky. It was visible on Earth at high noon and stayed visible for 23 days. Do you believe they recorded this event also seen by the Chinese? What about Halley's Comet? This set of petroglyphs may keep us wondering for a long time.
Chaco Canyon in New Mexico is a surveyor's target for the purpose of the gods to conduct planetary surveying to keep the planets in alignment in order to grow life on Earth.
Our last site for this evening. The Bighorn Medicine Wheel in the Bighorn Mountains near Sheridan, Wyoming was interpreted in 1974 as an indicator of summer solstice sunrise and sunset, with other alignments for the rising of certain stars such as Aldebaran, Rigel, and Sirius. Built about 1050 AD, has 28 spokes and is about 90 feet in diameter. About 50 similar circles exist. The oldest is in Canada, built about 2500 BC, the age of the Egyptian pyramids, for comparison. The alignments presented by these stone circles are controversial. The Lakota are providing more answers to the mounting questions.
Bighorn Medicine Wheel in Wyoming is a big pile of crap that never did anything.